My dear child, Ernest, sit with me a moment. Let the noise hush. Let the wind still. Let your soul find its breath again. There is something sacred waiting in the silence. It is you, and it is God. When the weight of the world feels like it's pressing your chest, when the lights go dim, and your thoughts roar like thunder behind your eyes, it is time, sweet soul, to do the one thing chaos never expects. Pray. Yes, pray. Not with fancy words or polished phrases, but with the cracked syllables of a weary heart. Pray like the ocean that crashes and still returns. Pray like the mother who won't stop calling her child home. Pray like you believe peace is possible, because it is. Pray this with me now, wherever you are. Dear Lord, I am surrounded by noise, deadlines, bills, conflict, heartbreak. The world spins too fast, and I'm dizzy with the speed of it. But you, O God, you are not moved by storm. You walk on waves, you whisper peace into the wild. Calm my mind, Lord. Quiet my spirit. Lead me beside still water. Let your voice rise louder than the chaos. Remind me that I am yours. I am not alone. And no matter what I feel, I am safe in you. Even now, even here, when I am in. When the world feels like it is spinning faster than your heart can keep up with, when the voices outside begin to echo louder than the whisper within, there must be a holy pause, that stillness you crave, but struggle to find, that sacred space between despair and deliverance. That, my child, is where prayer lives. It is not found in noise. It is not found in frenzy. It is birthed in the quiet surrender of a soul that dares to stop. A soul that dares to believe there is something more powerful than the chaos. Prayer is not merely a ritual. It is not just an obligation or a recitation learned long ago. No, my dear. It is a melody of a heart that remembers who made it. Prayer is the lullaby of a soul searching for its home. It is not something we do. It is something we become when we allow ourselves to fall into the arms of the eternal and say, "Here I am, Lord, just as I am. No mask, no pretense, no performance, just me." In the turmoil of life, when schedules scream and headlines haunt and anxiety takes up space in your chest, peace can feel like a stranger. You may wonder where it went when it left, or if it ever truly belonged to you in the first place. But I am here to tell you something you must never forget. Peace is not gone. It is not hiding. It is not locked away in the hands of people who have more money, more time, or more answers. Peace, sweet soul, has never left you. You've simply been too burdened to notice it was waiting. The pathway back to peace is not through the noise. It is not through hustle or performance, or pretending to be fine when your heart is fractured. It is not found in scrolling or striving or suppressing your truth. It is found in prayer. Gentle, deliberate, powerful prayer. The kind of prayer that does not ask for ease, but for endurance. The kind of prayer that does not beg for escape, but for the grace to stand still and trust that God is near. Even in the trembling, you don't have to know the words. You don't need a robe or a pulpit or a degree. You don't need to sound like the creature or the prophet. You just need a willing spirit. A bowed heart. You need the courage to whisper what you're too ashamed to say out loud. You need the boldness to cry out, "God, I am tired. I am afraid. I am overwhelmed. But I still believe you are able." Now, let me say this plain. There is power in prayer, not because of how loud you speak, but because of who hears you. You see, when a child cries, a good mother doesn't wait for a perfect sentence. She doesn't need explanation. She hears the ache and she comes running. That's how God is. He does not wait for the perfect prayer. He responds to the broken cry.
I've known long days, child. I've tasted bitterness and slept with sorrow as my pillow. I've walked through seasons where the air was thick with doubt, where my mind was a battlefield, where I wore a smile but was bleeding inside. And yet, in the quiet dark, when the tears rolled silently into the creases of my pillow, prayer became my anchor. It held me when nothing else could. It reminded me that even when I was at my weakest, I was not alone.
Prayer does not always change the storm, but it changes the soul in the storm. It softens the sharp edges of fear. It straightens the spine of courage. It dries the tears with hands invisible but full of warmth. Prayer is the language of resilience. It is how you gather yourself again after falling apart. It is how you breathe again when grief takes your breath away. So I urge you, the next time the world spins too fast, stop. Just stop. Do not wait for the right setting or the perfect moment. Pause right there at your desk, in your car, in the grocery aisle, and breathe. Then whisper, Lord, I need you. That's all. Just that. And feel what happens. It will not always come like thunder. Sometimes it will arrive like a soft breeze brushing across your shoulder. Sometimes it will feel like a warm tear sliding down your cheek without shame. Sometimes it will be a thought so clear and calm, you'll know it did not come from your own weary mind. Don't be fooled, beloved. Strength is not in pretending everything is all right. Strength is in praying when everything feels wrong. Strength is in choosing peace over panic, faith over frenzy, surrender over control. And prayer is how we make that choice. Not once, but over and over again. There are angels, I believe, who hover near when we pray, not always seen but felt. They gather around the trembling voice that says, "Help me, Lord." They rejoice when we choose quiet over chaos. They clap when we trade despair for just a drop of hope. And God Himself, the Almighty Creator of every star and every sea, bends low to listen when you speak. Isn't that something? That the same God who shaped the mountains hears your voice and says, "That is my child, and I will not let them go." So pray, my darling. Pray when you're tired. Pray when you're busy. Pray when you're afraid. Pray when your mind is too loud and your soul is too silent. You don't need to have it all together. You just need to show up. Because prayer is not about getting everything you ask. It is about receiving the peace that passes understanding, the kind that settles your spirit even while the storm still rages. This world will try to drown you in noise, but your soul was made for sacred stillness. Let prayer be the place you return to when the world becomes too much. Let it be the soft ground you fall on, the strong wings that lift you, the steady hand that leads you beside still waters. And when you find yourself there, quiet, held, heard, remember this: peace was never lost. It was waiting on you to remember that you don't walk alone. So walk on, child, walk on with prayer in your mouth and peace in your chest. And may you never again forget where your strength truly comes from. You do not need to be eloquent to speak to God. You do not need to rehearse lines or memorize scriptures like an actor memorizing a part in a play. No, child. All you need is a heart that's willing, a soul that's humble, and a voice even if it trembles. God isn't waiting on your perfection. He's waiting on your presence. In the world we live in, people dress up their voices. They cover their pain in politeness. They polish their words until the truth is hidden behind glitter and grammar. But prayer, real prayer, does not need such dressing. It comes raw. It comes open. It comes real. That's the kind of prayer heaven listens to. Not the one rehearsed, but the one released from the gut of your being. I've seen people hesitate to pray because they thought their words weren't good enough. They didn't sound like the pastor. They didn't rhyme like the choir's hymn. They didn't thunder like the prophet. But hear me and hear me well. God is not impressed with your performance. He is moved by your honesty. He is drawn to the broken places in you, not because they are beautiful, but because they are real. And when you speak from your heart, even if the words are messy, even if your voice cracks, even if all you can say is "help me," heaven leans in close. God does not need your polish. He desires your truth. You see, when a child is in pain, they don't always form full sentences. They cry, they groan, they reach. And what does a good parent do? They come running. They don't wait for eloquence. They don't demand an explanation. They respond to the cry. And that's what your Heavenly Father does too. He responds to your cry not because you said it just right, but because He loves you too much to ignore it. I want you to know that prayer is not a contest. It's not a performance. It is a conversation. It is a moment when time stands still, when your soul steps out from behind the curtain of your fear and says, "Here I am, Lord. I don't know what to say, but I know I need you." And that, beloved, is enough. Sometimes the most powerful prayer is a sigh. Sometimes it's a tear that rolls down your cheek as you sit in silence. Sometimes it's a whisper through gritted teeth, "Lord, just hold me." And, oh, how heaven responds. God is not far. He is not out of reach. You do not need a microphone to speak to Him. You don't need a pulpit or a platform. All you need is a moment of stillness, a heart that's open, and the courage to speak what's real. Not what you think you should say, but what you feel. Even the ugly parts, even the parts you're ashamed of, even the questions you don't dare ask aloud in church. Bring it all. Lay it at His feet, because your Creator is not afraid of your truth. He made you with it in mind. There were times in my life when the only prayer I could offer was silence. Life had crushed me. The world had bruised me. And I would sit in the corner of a room or in the stillness of the night with my head bowed, my hands empty, and my heart aching. No words, just presence. And let me tell you, child, God met me there. He met me in the silence. Because even silence has a sound when it's offered with love. Don't let anyone make you feel small because your prayer doesn't sound like theirs. Don't measure your relationship with God by the volume of your voice or the length of your prayer. Some of the greatest conversations with God are short and sacred, like, "Lord, I'm tired. Father, give me strength. God, please don't let me break." And that, my dear, is more than enough. There's a reason the Bible says the Spirit helps us pray when we don't know what to say. Because there will be times, oh yes, many times, when life knocks the words right out of your mouth. But the Spirit steps in. He groans for you. He intercedes for you. He translates your pain into prayers heaven understands. So even when you can't form the sentence, heaven still hears your soul. Don't be afraid to pray with your pain. Don't be ashamed to pray with your questions. God can handle it. He is not afraid of your honesty. He is not intimidated by your mess. He is not disappointed in your need. He welcomes it. He honors it. Because when you bring Him your truth, you give Him permission to meet you where you really are, not where you pretend to be. Prayer, you see, is not about moving God closer to your plans. It's about moving your soul closer to His heart. And sometimes that movement starts with one trembling sentence, one tear-stained word, one breath that says, "God, I trust you even though I don't understand." You don't have to pray like me. You don't have to pray like your mother or your pastor or your neighbor down the street. You just have to pray like you. Your voice matters. Your story matters. And your prayer, even in its simplest, rawest form, reaches the ears of God like a sweet symphony. So today, as the world rushes and demands and distracts, I want you to slow down. I want you to find a moment, just one, and I want you to speak to your Father. Maybe it's in the car, maybe in the shower, maybe with a tear or with a smile. Just speak. Just open your heart and say what's true. Say what's aching. Say what's longing to be healed. Because you, my dear, are heard. You are seen. And you are loved. Not for how well you pray, but because you have the courage to pray at all. Speak to God simply. Speak to Him truly. And you will find, even in the middle of your storm, that peace has always been just one honest prayer away. Peace, my darling, is not a place you run to. It is not a distant land where nothing ever goes wrong. No, peace is not tucked away on the other side of your problems. It is not promised only to the rich or the wise or those who wear a Sunday best and speak in quiet tones. Let me tell you the truth. Peace is not a condition. Peace is a choice. It is a brave, sacred decision made in the very heart of your storm. It is the whisper you speak when the noise tries to drown you. It is the stand you take when the world tries to pull you under. Wait until the job comes through. Wait until the house is quiet. Wait until the diagnosis is clear. Wait until the world stops spinning. But I say no, child, don't wait. If you wait for life to be perfect, to feel peace, you may never know peace at all. Because peace is not found when the chaos ends. Peace is found when you look the chaos in the eye and choose to believe that God is still good. I have walked through fire, and I have sat in rooms so quiet with pain you could hear a tear fall before it touched the floor. And in those moments, peace didn't come because the storm passed. It came because I invited it in right there in the center of my trembling. I prayed not for the wind to stop, but for my heart to hold steady while it blew. That's the difference. That's the power. The world tells you peace comes when the battle is over. But heaven says peace is the sword you carry through the battle. Peace is not passive. Oh, no. Peace is a warrior. Peace walks into the burning house of your emotions and declares, I will not be moved. Peace doesn't sit idly by waiting for permission. It walks with purpose and stands its ground. You see, we confuse comfort with peace. We think silence equals peace. But peace is not the absence of noise, it is the presence of God. And child, wherever He is, there is peace. Even in your chaos, even in your stress, even in your anxiety and your doubt and your confusion, you can choose peace. You can claim it like a birthright. You can wrap it around your shoulders like a shawl woven with the threads of divine stillness. But first, you must let go. Let go of the lie that everything must be in order before your soul can rest. Let go of the idea that peace comes with perfect circumstances. Let go of the pressure to pretend like everything is okay. You are allowed to be in the middle of a mess and still declare peace over your mind. You are allowed to sit in a storm and still say, I trust you, God. That is not denial, that is faith. Jesus himself slept in a boat while the storm raged. Did you hear me? The wind howled. The sea thrashed. But he was wrapped in peace, not because the storm wasn't real, but because he knew the one who controlled it. And so do you.
You know the one who calms winds with a word.
You know the one who parts seas and walks on waves. You know the one who sits beside you when your chest tightens and your thoughts race. And if you know him, then peace is not far. It is closer than your next breath. All it takes is a decision. A quiet, firm decision. You don't have to feel peaceful to choose peace.
You don't have to be smiling to rest in peace.
Sometimes, peace looks like tears falling while your hands are still lifted in worship. Sometimes, peace is holding on when everything in you wants to run. Make no mistake, peace is a fight. It's a fight against fear. A fight against the urge to control.
A fight against the belief that you are alone.
But it is a fight worth having. Every single time. When you choose peace, you are telling the enemy, you don't own my joy. You don't control my breath. You don't have access to my mind. When you choose peace, you are anchoring yourself in the eternal. You are saying, I may not know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds me today. And what a powerful knowing that is. To be grounded, not in circumstance, but in divine certainty. To be held not by fleeting feelings, but by everlasting arms. So, child, if you are in a season of stress, if your heart is heavy and your mind is noisy,
if the world feels like it's too much, pause.
And then choose. Choose peace. Speak it aloud. Even if your voice shakes. Say, I choose peace. Say, God, I choose to trust you in the middle of the unknown. Say, this storm will not steal my sanity. And watch what happens. Not always around you, but in you. Because real peace doesn't always change the situation. But it always changes you. It calms your breath. It soothes your soul. It stills your feet. It reminds you that no matter how loud the world gets, the voice of God still speaks louder. And he always says, peace, be still. Let that word echo in your chest today. Let it be your lullaby when sleep won't come. Let it be your anthem when fear whispers lies. Let it be your grounding when your heart runs wild. Peace is not a prize for the perfect. It is a gift for the willing. So be willing today, my sweet one. Be willing to lay down your fear and pick up your faith. Choose peace. Not because the storm is over.
But because your God is already in it with you.
And when he is with you, you can rest. You can breathe. You can walk through fire and not be burned. You can lie down and sleep, even while the thunder rolls. Because peace lives not around you, but within you. And it always has. The world may shake, my child. It may tremble and twist and toss you from side to side like a leaf caught in a mighty wind. But I need you to remember something sacred and still. God has not moved. He has not shifted with the seasons. He has not been swept away by your sorrow. He has not been caught off guard by your trouble. The same God who whispered light into the darkness is still seated, steady and strong right beside you. Now, I know what it feels like when life unravels, when everything you built starts to crack, when people you trusted walk away, when the news is too heavy, when your reflection in the mirror looks worn and tired. You may begin to wonder, where is God? Has he left? Has he changed? But oh, dear heart, he has not changed. He is not like man, fickle and fleeting. God is eternal, constant, faithful when you are faithless, present when you are absent, strong when you are weak.
There are days when we forget that. I know, days when grief clouds the soul, when pain pierces so deep it leaves you speechless. But let me tell you what I have learned from the long road and the low valleys. Feelings are not facts. Your fear may shout, but it does not speak the truth. Your tears may flood, but they do not wash away God's promises. Even when your world feels unstable, God is not unsteady. He is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore.
You must cling to that. Like a child clutching a blanket in the night, you must cling to the truth that God is with you, not just in the sunshine, but in the storm. Not just when your voice sings praises, but even when it breaks with sobs. He is not afraid of your doubts. He is not moved away by your fear. In fact, he draws closer to the brokenhearted. He wraps himself around your wounds like a gentle covering, saying, I have not left you. I never will. I want you to take a breath now, not a shallow one, but a deep belly-filling breath. And with that breath, remind yourself, God is here. Not in the way of fairy tales or distant hope, but in real sacred presence. He is in the room with you. He is in the silence. He is in the waiting. He is in the moment where you thought you'd fall apart and yet somehow you didn't. That wasn't luck, child. That wasn't coincidence. That was God. Quiet, firm, unwavering. You must stop looking for him only in the miracles. He is also in the mundane. He is in the breath you didn't know if you could take. He is in the friend who called just in time. He is in the strength you found at the bottom of your soul when you thought you had none left. That's where God shows up, in the cracks, in the spaces where human help cannot reach, in the crevices of the heart, where only divine hands can heal. When the ground shakes beneath you, you must plant your feet in faith, not because you see the end, not because you understand the why, but because you know the who. You know the one who parts waters and shuts the mouths of lions. You know the one who stood in the fire with 3 men and turned the flames into a testimony. You know the one who fed thousands with crumbs and called the dead back to life with a whisper. That same one, he is your God, and he has not changed. And just because you cannot feel him does not mean he is far. You see, God is not ruled by your emotions. He is not swayed by your feelings. He is faithful, even when your faith feels like it's on life support. I say again, he is not moved. The ground may shift. The people may change. But God, oh child, God remains. He remains when you lose your job. He remains when your heart breaks. He remains when the doctor gives you news that buckles your knees. He remains when the night is too long and the silence too loud. He remains when all you have left is a whisper of a prayer and a soul too weary to speak it. Let me tell you something precious. You do not have to hold yourself together. That is not your burden. Your job is to hold on to God, and even when your grip fails, He will not let go of you. His hands are steady. His arms are everlasting. His love, my dear, is unmovable.
It's a kind of peace that comes from knowing this. Not peace that the world gives, the kind that needs everything to look perfect. No, I'm talking about holy peace, deep peace. The peace that steadies your heartbeat in the middle of chaos. The peace that lets you sleep, even when the bills aren't paid. The peace that lets you smile through tears, knowing that though you don't know what's next, God does. And He is already there, waiting.
So walk on, walk through the fire, walk through the flood, walk through the confusion and the questions. You are not alone, and you are not forgotten. Even if no one sees your struggle, God does. Even if no one hears your cries in the night, God does. And He is not indifferent. He is not idle. He is with you. He is for you. And He will not move away from you. You are not lost. You are not forsaken. You are not too broken for God to rebuild. He is the potter. You are the clay. And even now, as the world spins wild around you, His hands are steady on your life. He is shaping something, refining something, preparing something that only the fire could produce. So take heart. Lift your eyes. The world may shake, but your God, He stands. And so will you, because you are His. And He is unshakable. You may feel alone sometimes, deeply, achingly alone, like no one hears your cries, like no one sees your tears, like you're walking through this world as a ghost in your own skin. But I am here to remind you, child, in the calmest, clearest voice I can offer, you are not alone, you are not forgotten, not forsaken, not invisible to the one who formed you. You are heard, you are held. And you are still being led by a God who knows your name and loves you too much to ever let you go.
Oh, I know the darkness tries to convince you otherwise. I know there are days when you pray and hear no answer. Nights when your pillow is soaked and the silence feels unbearable. You whisper, Lord, are you there? And all you get back is stillness. But listen to me. God does not need to shout to prove He is near. Sometimes His presence is not in the thunder. Sometimes it is in the still small voice, the breath beside you, the warmth within you, the quiet strength holding you up when you don't even realize you've stopped standing on your own.
We live in a loud world, loud with opinions, loud with expectations, loud with fear. And in the middle of all that noise, it's easy to forget the softness of God's whisper. But just because He whispers doesn't mean He's far. It means He's close enough for you to hear Him when you lean in. So lean in. Lean in when your heart is heavy. Lean in when the voices in your mind are too loud. Lean in when you feel like nobody sees the battle you're fighting just to get out of bed, because there, in that leaning, that trusting, trembling leaning, you'll find something beautiful. The arms of God have never left you. He's the kind of Father who doesn't flinch at your mess. He's the kind of Savior who sits in the dust with you until you can rise again. He's the kind of Comforter who holds you when you can't hold yourself, who translates your tears into prayers, who collects every drop that falls from your eyes and keeps them not as reminders of your pain, but as proof of your courage.
You are held, my dear, even now, especially now.
There were moments in my own life, dark corners, painful memories, impossible days, where I felt I had nothing left. No song, no strength, not even a prayer that made sense, just breath and brokenness. But in those moments, something always whispered back to me, I see you, I love you, I'm still here. And I need you to know that same voice is speaking over you right now. Yes, you, with the aching back and the tired smile. You with the quiet sadness you carry like a weight on your shoulders. You with the questions that don't yet have answers. God sees it all, and He is not silent. Sometimes when you don't feel Him, that's when He's holding you the tightest. Like a mother cradling her sleeping child, no words, no movement, just presence. Steady, sure, peaceful. Prayer, beloved, is not always about speaking. Sometimes it's about listening. Sometimes it's about resting. Sometimes it's about lying in the arms of the Almighty and saying, I don't know what to say anymore, Lord, but I trust you. And that trust, that precious, trembling trust, is a prayer in itself. You do not need 1,000 words. You don't need a flawless faith. All you need is the courage to show up. And when you do, God meets you there. Not just halfway, not just when you're good enough. He meets you at the bottom, at your lowest, you at the place where hope seems too small and the night feels too long. He kneels down right beside you, and he says, I've got you. You are not alone. You've never been alone. And child, there's more. You're not just heard, you're not just held. You're being led by a shepherd who knows every twist in the path, who sees the danger before you step into it, who walks ahead of you and beside you and behind you all at once. He guides with tenderness. He protects with power. He does not rush you. He does not drag you. He leads gently, patiently, perfectly. Even when you don't see the way he sees. Even when you feel stuck, he's moving. Even when you think you're going in circles, he's drawing a map of victory with your very steps. So don't be afraid of not knowing what comes next. You don't need all the answers. You just need the assurance that he does. Let your heart rest in that today, not in what you understand, but in who you belong to. You belong to a God who calls you by name, a God who doesn't grow tired of you, a God who doesn't roll his eyes at your repeated prayers or your fragile faith, a God who doesn't compare your journey to someone else's, a God who says, come to me all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. So come as you are, with your doubts, your baggage, your trembling hands. Come into the presence of the one who doesn't demand that you be whole before you approach him. He's the healer, after all. He does the mending. And as you come, you will find what you've been searching for. Peace that doesn't make sense.
Love that doesn't run dry.
Hope that rises with the dawn. Grace that meets you over and over again. You are not alone. You never were. And you never will be. So lift your head, even if it's heavy. Whisper that prayer, even if it's weak. Take that step, even if it's small. Because heaven hears. Heaven sees, and heaven is moving for you. And oh, sweet soul,
you are being led by the one who will never let you go.